Opportunities through soccer. Representative Watkins.
Adam Miles is coming up. He is the executive director of Refugee Soccer Committee. He has been here before. We have funded this organization in the past. I don't believe they did get anything last year, but he'll tell you. And
we're going to call that a gap year.
Yeah, it was a gap. Okay, and so go ahead, Adam. You've been here. You know the drill.
Yep. Well, I'm grateful to be back. I've got a couple handouts, and hopefully that's popping up here in a second. If someone can help me with that, thank you. So I'm Adam Miles. I'm the founder and executive director.
Get real close to that mic so we can hear you. Yeah.
Executive director of Refugee Soccer. So I share a birthday with Abraham Lincoln and some values, which is, by the way, next week. But one of my second favorite presidents of the United States was Ronald Reagan. And it feels appropriate, given the climate in our country right now around immigration, to share this quote with you. As I'm sure many of you know, President Reagan talked about America being a shining city on a hill. And he described it in his farewell address to the country as a tall, proud city built on rocks, stronger than oceans, windswept, God-blessed, and teeming with people of all kinds, living in harmony and peace. A city with free ports that hummed with commerce and creativity. And if there had to be city walls, the walls had doors, and the doors were open to anyone with the will and the heart to get here. That's how I saw it and see it still. I'm sure it will come as no surprise that for an increasing number of members of our community here in Utah and across the United States, it's become very difficult to see this vision that President Reagan had. Rather, there is palpable fear, confusing uncertainty, and caustic divisiveness. But I bring good news, and it actually comes from this body. Last year, there was a resolution passed, HCR 9, that celebrates Utah's history of welcoming refugees. That's the resolution. I won't read it to you. You know what it says, but I want to point out that last year we referenced 36 million refugees worldwide. That number is up 21% in just 1 year. There's 65,000 refugees that live here among us in our communities. And these are legally immigrated citizens of our country, of our state, that cannot return for well-founded fear and actual persecution. These are the most vetted, extensively screened humans that come into our country, and they've often spent years waiting to get here. And as the resolution points out, which I love, they contribute to the community. They start businesses, they share culture, and they give more than they consume in state-funded services and resources. The resolution rightly celebrates Utah's long legacy of being a haven for those seeking religious freedom and a welcome beacon for those fleeing persecution and violence. And when those refugees come here, they contribute enormously to Utah's economy as homeowners, workers, taxpayers, and consumers. And I love, especially today, to know that this legislation, I think it's 4 years running, and maybe there'll be one this year, I'm certainly hoping so, but it was passed unanimously with bipartisan support. Because that cements further what I see in my travels and my work, that Utah has been a leader in supporting the world's most vulnerable people. The good news continues. Since I started Refugee Soccer about 9 years ago, our mission has been to create moments of hope and happiness for refugee youth through soccer around the world. We've been here, we're not going anywhere. We continue to do the primary work here in Utah. And we will try even harder this year to replace despair and darkness and uncertainty with hope and happiness. And for the record, I want to be very clear that we have always stood for legal immigration, opportunity and access, and excellence. So effectively what I'm saying is we're all on the same soccer team here, and we all have the same desired outcome. Our RFA is for a $100,000 one-time ask for this upcoming fiscal year that will support both of our programs, Refugee Soccer and She Belongs. I'll tell you about those in just a second. And we connect thousands of youth and adults across multiple communities in soccer, through soccer. We serve, motivate, and guide both refugee and non-refugee youth to connect with one another in after-school programs, churches, and soccer fields. The benefits of the program are we create more belonging, more inclusion. We cultivate mutual understanding and respect. And in so doing, we build character and confidence in the beneficiaries of our programs, which improves mental and physical well-being for all Utahns. And this funding, this request, deepens and extends our reach across the state. I won't. It's on the handout that I've passed around. Will hopefully be available online. But we have two programs. Our core program, what I call PEC, Play, Equip, and Compete, where we engage refugee youth with non-refugee youth through soccer and various activities that we do, and we impact over thousands of kids throughout Utah schools and programs. One of my favorite is Olean Walker Elementary, where I go once a week and supervise some very, let's just say, energetic soccer matches during lunch recess. And there's 27 different languages spoken there, and it's a lot of fun for me, and the kids seem to enjoy it. 2 years ago, almost exactly, as a girl dad of 3 daughters and a grandfather of 5 granddaughters, I decided we weren't doing enough for girls. And so we started a program called She Belongs. And the vision there is a kinder, healthier, more equitable world in which no dream is too big. It's just my passion coming out of my eyes, sorry. And every girl everywhere can fearlessly pursue every opportunity she desires. So we're working with dozens of Utah young women through our leadership and advocacy workshops. We visited Japan, New Zealand 2 years ago, made a documentary film. I'm going to show you 2 brief clips from that in just a second. And we're racing towards final preparations for the 2025 Global Cup, which will be held in Madrid, Spain this coming June. I want to talk about briefly values and value. This young lady, she's a junior in Lone Peak High School. And I'll just be quiet and stop crying and let you listen to what she had to say about what she's learned in our program.
When people are like, oh, those poor
Can't hear it, can you?
going to watch their game, like, don't say that, come watch.
Do I need to change the output, or can you hear that?
Yeah, I can't hear very well.
Okay,
Can
all
you kick it up?
Yeah. Or you know what I'll do? Let me just see if this will be faster.
I think it's the same kind of narrative for refugees.
When people are like, oh, those poor girls, no one's going to watch their game, like, don't say that, come watch the game.
I think it's the same kind of narrative for refugees.
Wait, yeah, totally.
Tell me everything you're thinking.
I feel like I hear people go all the time, oh, those poor refugees, they must be having such a hard time. On this trip, I saw refugees do unbelievable things. We just need to get out of the refugees' way. They can do incredible things if we just give them what they need to do it.
This next gentleman who made a cameo appearance in our documentary film, you may recognize, but he said this about our program.
Again, thank you for what you do, how you represent our state and our country, but just the message that you share as well. I think that this is the answer to almost all of our problems in this country.
I love this part when he talks about this, and this is the integrating, the bridging of communities when we work together through something as universal as soccer, as being perhaps a great solution to a lot of the problems we have in this country. It's on the handout. You know what the breakdown is of our funding request. Our expected operating budget for FY26 is $750,000. This RFA for $100,000 is a little more than 10%. It's spread out amongst multiple needs that we have to continue to deepen and grow our program, including coaches, mentors, honestly, marketing, getting the message out about She Belongs and about refugee soccer, and importantly, incentives and scholarships for the participants in our program. We've been fortunate lately to have quite a bit of news coverage about what we're doing, including BYU Magazine. I'm a graduate from there. I was on the BYU podcast as a result, which was super fun. KUTV, Fox 13, the Salt Lake Tribune, the Murray City Journal had a really nice write-up about what we're doing at Hillcrest Junior High down there in Murray. So my final thought is to go back to when Ronald Reagan became president, his first inaugural address, and I won't read this to you, but I think what he was talking about, I can't do the math, I don't know, 40 years ago or so, is that what makes America great is that we unleash the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual, and my words, both refugee and non-refugee, have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. I'm excited about working with this body again in this upcoming year, continuing to do the work that we're doing, and as we all strive to have more peace and harmony and productivity in our country and in our state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes your presentation.